know, the difference between street course and road course, people don't realize when you're in a road course, you know, the peripheral vision is a little bit different. You can take a little more chance because if you do overcome the corner, if you over braking and any kind of scenario, you still have a cushion to go out and come back and do it again. Now, when you go into a street course, you don't have the luxury to unfortunately over, you know, braking the corner or things like that because the wall is right there. Plus, the peripheral vision, it's kind of like you're riding a tunnel and it's a very tricky. So you gotta drive maybe most of the time 90%. If you can take a chance from 100% once to qualify, that maybe is the time to do it. But normally street course, you can't go all there all the time.
Yeah, it's the cars are quite a bit different. You know, the margin of error is much different. You know, a lot of the road courses you have a little more runoff. You have areas where you know you don't really wreck the car if you kind of run off the track. You know, the street course is a very tough. You know, not saying that the others aren't mentally, but to have the amount of concentration you need to run the cars so quickly between these concrete walls on streets with bumps and you know, manhole covers and cracks here and there is definitely you know, pretty tough mentally. So they're very, very different.
Both from an engineering side and from a driving side. From the engineering side, the street courses are much rougher. They're typically slower, a lot more sort of point and shoot type of corners where traction and braking traction, straight line traction, are both sort of a high priority. Being able to just get the car over the bumps without losing it, being able to hit curbs, kind of being able to be off your marks by a little bit.
It's a different kind of technique, and you know, the street course is typically first or second gear corners. It's just basically slow speed, typically 90 degrees corner. Where the road course, you know, the third, fourth, fifth gears and nice lows and high speed. I mean, here Long Beach, there's a couple of high speed corners, which is very exciting. But otherwise quite narrow and bumpy, and you have to really concentrate in the precision for the line, and there is no room no margin for the errors.
So that's why not only for the drivers but for the engineers, you gotta have a very good communication in what areas the car it's hitting or bumps, things like that, so the engineer can set up the car better for the street course. Then you can get a good performance.
You do need a different setup in a street race because you never have that same amount of grip you have in a road course. You need usually a softer car, softer springs. You also need to be higher on ride heights because of the bumps and all the little things you're gonna have to avoid. So it is, let's say a car that won last weekend at Barber won't have the same setup this weekend at Long Beach. It's, you know, you need a pretty different approach.
You need to have a car which allows you to brake hard and deep and to make kind of as much rolling speed as you can, but obviously you do not want to compromise the exit. So it's always a give and take, but I think for me the most crucial thing is to be able to have a car which allows you to really go hard on the braking, because that's the only way you can put the energy and the heat in the front tires to really get a switched on car and switched on tires and then get the maximum grip level out of it.
And then the other thing that ends up playing a big role when you come to a street course for a race weekend is the tracks change drastically from first practice on Friday morning through to qualifying, morning warm-up, and then the race. The track grip comes up significantly, the track rubber comes up significantly, and that can also play a deciding role in where you run on the racetrack. Whether it's geometrically the fastest line through the corner or not, you have to run where the rubber is at.
The track will change a lot. If you try to attack too much on Friday, you're probably gonna get off the road and scare yourself. But then Saturday, if you brake where you couldn't brake Friday, you're probably gonna make it. So you just have to have your brain ready to keep, you know, adapting to the racetrack.
Either road or street course, it's difficult to figure out where are you actually going to be able to make a pass, and for me, and I think for a lot of guys, it ends up as being something that you figure out through the duration of a race. As we've seen this year so far in the Eyes on IndyCar series, suddenly the best passing zones are in really awkward places on racetracks, and it's just because that's where the biggest differential between a lead car and a following car end up being. So you know, the end of the straightaways and all that kind of stuff end up looking to be the optimal passing opportunities, but sometimes they're not. Sometimes it's where you can just catch a guy off guard and stick it in because you're that much faster through a particular area of track.
Yeah, getting out of turn, get a good run on the guy ahead, and he will try to protect his line, obviously, and it's up to you to trick him or to try to get him where he doesn't think you're going to pass him.
It's a situation where you wait maybe a lot of the times for the person in front to make a mistake that you can sort of you know, get past, and then the other ones, you know, trying to set it up for 4 or 5 laps to make sure you can pull it off properly.
Well, you gotta have a lot of patience on a street circuit. You gotta see if there is a chance of overtaking. If not, you gotta save. So save, it means that you might get an extra lap, and then you might have a situation where you can, you know, beat him by the pit stop.
Patience basically is the key for any kind of race, you know, but it does apply very well in a street course, because even that when you have a new tires, the car does one thing, and when the tires start degrading a little bit, the car does another thing, and maybe your car might be a little better combination and consistent through the beginning of the run and to the end of the run. So patience always paid off in the end of the day.
Safe is fast for me should be the religion of any race car driver. Through the years you learn that, and I know it's basics, we all know it, you have to finish the race to win it. That's the first thing you have to do. If you don't finish, there's no chance of winning, right?